So typically, whenever a company has something coming out or they're about to release something, they give you dates, let you know what's coming out, all that type of stuff, and it comes out on that date or whatever, right? Or that time frame. If it doesn't come out or something gets delayed, usually the company lets you guys know or tells you what's going on and why it's delayed. That is what most companies do, except Dodge. Dodge has kind of once again jumped out there and said some stuff that isn't true, kept quiet about it, and didn't say anything publicly or why this isn't coming out. So I'm gonna drop the intro and the word from my sponsor. Let's get into this topic. Today's video is brought to you by CarLock, the world's best vehicle tracker and alert system. With CarLock, you'll be able to track your car real time, get alerts of anything suspicious happening to your car, such as your car is starting when it shouldn't be starting, any vibrations. Also, if someone decides to unplug your car lock from your car, you'll get a notification for that too. You deserve that peace of mind, and make sure you get your car locked. I do have a discount code for you guys shown on the screen right now. Get 10% off your purchase, as well as 14 days free trial with it as well with that same discount code, man. Get your car locked. You deserve that peace of mind. Let's go ahead and get it to the video. YouTube family, what is going on? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. If you're new here, we do a lot of car related things, so make sure you tap in and subscribe to the channel and be around for all the car related things that we have going on. And if you've already subscribed, well, thank you so much for locking it in, being part of the channel. But we'll not hold you too long. Let's go ahead and get into the topic of today's video. Dodge is pretty much in the business as of late of breaking promises, telling people about things they're going to have come out, things that they are going to release, just to somewhere and somehow drop the ball and have it never come out, and Dodge will just be quiet about it. So the latest thing that Dodge has really kind of dropped the ball on and kind of just forgot about, or hoping people will forget about, is their 392 direct connection kits that they promised to us that we didn't ask for. Dodge offered the information to us, and they made a whole graphic showing the different stages. Didn't show what the horsepower stuff was going to be, but they made the graphic showing the 392 stages coming and all the type of stuff. So they made the promise saying it's coming out, and it's not coming out. They announced this like back, I'm gonna put it like this: when they announced it, I still had a Challenger at the time. So when Dodge like first announced these 392 kits for the 392s and Scatpacks, all that type of stuff, I had a Challenger at the time. I didn't even have my wide body Scatpack that I have now. They announced it and didn't say much about it since then. So people have been wondering where they are and all this type of stuff. I've been hearing they was having supply issues, getting enough controllers to do it. They're ready to go. They're just waiting on a couple of things. There goes on the dash cam. They're just waiting on a couple of things to be put in place so they can release the kits. And then they release the Demon, and they say, hey, we have the Hellcats kits coming out. Didn't mention one thing about 392s or anything at all. And come to find out that Dodge just pretty much canceled the program. They're not doing 392 kits at all. They did not even come out and say that themselves. They had other people tell them for. People went and asked them about it. Then they say, yeah, we're not coming out with it. No reason why or anything like that. But there's some speculation as to why they're not coming out with the kits. Now, with Dodge canceling the 392 stage kits and whatnot, you can look at it from one or two ways, whether it was a smart move, or a bad move here. I will go and say this when it comes to the particular kits and whatnot. I hope you guys can see me. The light's kind of all over the place. I will say this when it comes to the kit. I think the bad part about this is the fact that Dodge went out and promised that these kits were coming out. If they never promised it was coming out, or never said it was coming out, or never mentioned it, then everything would be all fine. If they could have out the get-go said, hey, we're only going to come out with the kits for the Hellcats. We're not doing the 392s, and here's why we're not doing the 392s. But they didn't say that. They said it's coming out, and then it backfired, and now they're just being quiet about it not coming out. But with it not coming out, they are missing out. I would say this: they are missing out on a pretty big market when it comes to the 392 platform. With the 392 trims, the Scatpacks, all that type of stuff, and this is true for every car manufacturer. As you go up in trim, you get less and less of those cars out there. So even though they have the kits for the Hellcats, those probably won't be that's not their biggest market of cars, because most of the cars that Dodge will sell, and it goes, you know, all the way down the trim line, you're going to see more V6s on the road than you see RTs. You're going to see more RTs on the road than you see Scatpacks. You're going to see more Scatpacks on the road than you see Hellcats. So by not having the 392 kits, stage kits and stuff, you missed out on a pretty big market. I know there are a lot of 392 owners that were waiting for the kits to come out. They were anticipating these kits coming out. They were kind of holding off on doing things to their cars until the kits come out so they can get that bump in horsepower and keep the warranty with the car. Looking at this from a different standpoint, I kind of understand why they did not come out with the 392 kits, and here's a few reasons why. The first reason is this. With a naturally aspirated engine, and any naturally aspirated engine for the most part, for you to get power out of it past doing just a tune, you're gonna have to start changing out parts. Only maybe a few cars out there that will benefit from a tune only and get, you know, big horsepower gain. We all know the 392s are not that engine. They are not the engine that's gonna give you a big bump in horsepower just from a tune. Now, we know how their kits work. It's usually the first stage is called a pre-stage kit. You got to get the tuner, the air filter, and all that type of stuff for the first part before you get everything else. It's the same with the Hellcats. It's probably what it would have did anyway. Comparing it to the Hellcats, there is so much more you can do with the Hellcats to get more horsepower out of those cars. Now, one thing, those engines, of course, are made for a lot of horsepower. They're made for a lot of boost, and they can handle that type of abuse. So put more horsepower into it and won't hurt the engine at all. One thing is true about a lot of engines, and every engine is tuned to balance efficiency and power. So the power's dialed back for to allow the engine to last longer, right? The Hellcats, that's true with them as well. But with those Hellcat engines, you can change parts on those Hellcat engines, really minimal parts you can change on it, and get a lot of horsepower out of it. Main case in point of not having to change anything with the Hellcats, if you have a red eye engine in your car, Charger, Challenger, you already have a Demon engine. The only difference between the Demon engine and actually, well, the super stock engine and the red eye engine, the only difference between those engines, they're all the exact same engine. They all have 3 different tunes on them. The Demon engine, of course, has the tune where it will allow it to go up to 840 horsepower with race gas. The super stock engine has a different tune on it that doesn't allow it to use race gas, and the red eye engine is a detuned Demon engine. So they're all the exact same engines. So with some of the stage kits that Dodge has out there, some of them are just changing out tunes. Like if you have a red eye, you'll get the Demon tune into your car, and that's how you get Demon horsepower out of the car. Likewise, with the super stock, you change out the tune, you'll get Demon power on that. Now, as far as with the other Hellcat engines, the 707 and 717, you have options there and really easy things you can do to get more horsepower out of those engines, just changing out pulleys. Changing out the pulleys, of course, to give you more boost equals more horsepower. You change out the tune, and you're there, and you're good. And those engines are built to handle that type of power. However, when it comes to the 392 engine, you don't have that luxury of just changing out small things to generate more power. You have to break the engine open and spend a good bit of money to increase the horsepower on it. If you're going to go past the first stage of just doing the pre-stage kit with the direct connects and with the direct connect kits, and I talked about this on a video a while back, you're going to have to change out parts. You're going to have to change out intake manifold, more than likely, air intake, of course, heads, cam. Of course, the thermostat will get changed on the first stage and stuff of that nature. But the main thing I'm trying to say is, if you're trying to get power out of a 392, and of course people do this on the aftermarket all the time, you're going to have to change out major parts. It's going to get very, very expensive to take a 392, do these stage kit upgrades. Now, does Dodge have the means to do it? Probably so. Would it be worth your while? Maybe not. With changing out those parts, you probably won't see a lot of gains as well. We already know 392 is kind of tapped for gains. On top of that, they optimize it pretty well as far as with the tune and all that stuff is concerned with the 392s. But it's not a lot left on the table for you guys to get out of the engine. Not saying people don't do it. People do it all the time. People build these engines all the time. But there's a difference between you building your engine and Dodge doing a tune or doing stage kits for it that a lot of other people don't have to worry about. If Dodge were to go in and make these stage kits for these 392s, that means and keep the warranty on it, that means they have to ensure that this thing is going to work for every single stage, and there's not going to be any issues for it down the road. The worst thing Dodge could do is come out with these stage kits for the 392s and then end up having warranty issues with these engines and stuff that they'll have to come out of their pocket and replace engines, replace different parts and things of that nature. That's if they push it too far. But they can be safe. What they did with a lot of the tunes here, even with the Hellcat stuff. There's Hellcats out here pushing well over 1,000 horsepower, stuff like that. Even they have their own Hellcat that's pushing, well, Demon is pushing over 1,000 horsepower, but people's pushing more horsepower than that. They have to keep it in a safe range. They have to give the car a bump of horsepower, but at the same time, they have to keep it in a range where it doesn't hurt the reliability of the engine. With the 392s, they push them too far, you go into reliability, you run into warranty issues that Dodge will have to handle. I touched on that, would it be worth it for the power gains? Would it be worth Dodge giving you these performance kits and having the warranty on it, and how much of gain you would get with it? On top of that, and this is going to kind of play in together, they never mentioned the 5.7. A lot of people with 5.7 say, hey, we never get any love, we never get anything for the 5.7. To be honest with you guys, Dodge gave stage kits to the 5.7s first. A few years ago, and some of you guys remember the Scatpack stage before the actual Scatpack was a trim. They had the Scatpack stages for the 5.7 RTs. I'm going to tell you, this is going to put in perspective how cost inefficient this stuff was. This stuff was not cost efficient at all. For the 5.7, they had 3 stages for it, right? With these 3 stages, this is what you got. For a total cost of about $9,000, if you did all 3 stages, you'll get a total of 58 horsepower. That's not worth it at all. $9,000 for 58 horsepower. So that puts you about 433 crank. They came with 375 crank. Now you have 433 crank. You just paid $9,000. In most cases, if you buy RT now and you add $9,000 for it, $9,000 to it, you're in the Scatpack. $9,000 with those stage kits that they used to have. You still have a warranty, but you're nowhere close to being as quick as a Scatpack. 433 crank is almost on par, maybe a little bit more than what the Scatpack puts down at the wheel. So you're not even there. And just to let you guys know what kind of things had to be changed for the 5.7 to even get 58 horsepower gain. Stage 1, this came in stage 1. MOPAR cold air intake, catback exhaust, stage 1 performance PCM, low restriction oil filter, and badges. So pretty much the only performance parts you got were air intake, catback, and a tune, and an oil filter. I mean, we can say the oil filter helps or not, but mainly it's the intake and exhaust, right? That's all you got for stage 1. Stage 2, this is what you got for stage 2. Camshaft, tie bars, heavy duty push rods, gaskets, and a new tune. That's for stage 2. That's a lot. We're changing major parts out of the engine to get 58 horsepower. In the last stage, you got ported cylinder heads, high flow headers, high flow cats, and a new tune. And that's what you got for $9,000 and 58 horsepower. If you try to take those same things in the Scatpack, a lot of the things that they did for the 5.7 are already done to the Scatpack. The exhaust is pretty good. It's pretty efficient. The MOPAR cold air intake won't do too much. You do the camshaft, but you have to do kind of a bigger, maybe a bigger cam or something of that nature. The heads you can do like I mentioned before. Headers, high flow headers, probably the shorty headers which already come on the 392s if I'm not mistaken. They're pretty efficient. High flow cats. There's not a lot left to do like with this engine that they don't have here. That's gonna be cost efficient. That was just $9,000 there. If you took it a step farther and started doing ported intakes and things of that nature, it's not gonna be worth the price. You're probably gonna be looking at more than $9,000. And $9,000 was just for the parts. You still got to put labor in there. So you do labor, you're looking at about $10,000, right? Same thing with a Scatpack. You put about $10,000 and $11,000 with these different stage kits. You're almost about Hellcat money, but no Hellcat performance. Dodge is not going to do that. They're not going to make their car faster than the next trim up for cheaper, because then that hurts themselves in sales. So it doesn't make sense for them to do that. But that's my thoughts, man. That's my thoughts of why Dodge didn't come out with these stage kits for the 392s and whatnot. I mean, they mentioned price is going to be a big thing, and you can see prices definitely would have been a big thing. Now, I know people build 392s all the time on the aftermarket, but like I said before, it's a much different ball game when you come out with a tune and performance upgrades for a car. that you're going to have to warranty, right? And Dodge couldn't take that risk in doing it. And the price didn't make sense either. The Hellcat stages are already a couple $1,000s just for the parts in some cases. They don't include the labor or whatnot, because labor can vary from state to state or whatnot, but that's a couple $1,000s, and they're not changing out a lot of parts. The most they're changing, maybe, I think it was like injectors maybe. They maybe change out pulleys, stuff of that nature. No real major parts were being changed. Now you go to a naturally aspirated engine where you got to start changing out cams, intake manifolds, heads, and things of that nature. The parts are going to be expensive, and the labor is going to be very expensive, because that's time-consuming stuff. It's not like a pulley where you can go in, maybe change in a couple of hours, throw the tune on, and you're good. You're going to spend, your car's going to sit there for a whole day, more than likely. That labor's going to shoot up a lot. So that's my thoughts on it. I know it's disappointing that Dodge has not come out with the 392 kits, but at the same time, it does kind of make sense that why it's not coming out. My biggest issue with Dodge is the fact that they said it was coming out, and they drew up this whole diagram and graphic that it's coming out just for it not to come out. That's the part I have the issue with. Dodge has got to do better about promising stuff they can't follow through on. But that's what they've been doing lately, giving us promises that they can't follow through on. So let me know your thoughts in the comment below. Relatively short video. If this is your first time here, you made it here to this part of the video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We do a lot of car-related things on this particular channel. We will catch you on the next video. We are out. Cut it.